A warm good morning to one and all. Success is not about how much money one can make. It's about the difference a person makes in people's lives. Today, we have with us an eminent, versatile leader who made the difference in many people's lives, Dr. Nandini Rangaswamy, the chairperson of Indian Red Cross Society, Coimbatore branch, for this special interview on World Red Cross Day. Ma'am is the managing director of Chandra Group of Companies, who manages diverse business, including the textiles and automotives. As a chairperson of GRG institutions, she has been instrumental in women empowerment and providing opportunities for less privileged sections of the society. Her deep passion and compassionate eye for the underprivileged has been an inspiration to many. Besides her active role in business and education, she has been actively involved in rendering laudable service to the society through promotion of human welfare as a philanthropist. Under the Indian Red Cross Society, she has pioneered many initiatives to help the needy, including the Project Deaf and Talir. She also established a special school for the speech and hearing impaired children. We are really fortunate to have you with us today, ma'am. On behalf of PSG College of Nursing, I welcome you for this program. World Red Cross Day is celebrated every year on May 8th as a birth anniversary of founder of the Red Cross, Mr. Henry Dunant, the recipient of first Nobel Peace Prize. The motive of celebrating this day to reduce and terminate the suffering situation among the people and raise the dignity of the people in the next level. It's not about growing the dignity of an individual, but it is also about protecting the lives of the people from the natural disasters. Now, whole world is looking at India suffering with the pandemic of Corona COVID, which is really pathetic for every one of us. So here, PSG College of Nursing, which established its YRC unit in the academic year 2004 and 5. The YRC unit of our college is very active in organizing various activities and helping the people. We are really proud to say that our institution was honored with certificates of appreciation for the best performance in Youth Red Cross movement, and our students and faculty are bestowed with Best YRC Volunteer and Best YRC Program Officer from Indian Red Cross Society for the past few years. With this brief note, I request our students, Ms. Nishmita and Mr. Rajkumar, to host the interview with our Madam Nandini Rangaswamy. I wish everyone to stay safe. Let's fight against Corona by wearing a mask, sanitizing ourselves, and maintaining the social distance. Once again, I welcome you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
A very good morning, ma'am. I'm Nishmita.
I'm Rajakumar.
And we are fourth year BSc Nursing students, ma'am. We are really honored and privileged to interview with you, ma'am. You are such a wonderful person we have come across, and your passion and empathy for the underprivileged and all your contribution is just wow. You truly are an inspiration, ma'am. You really pass that spark of light which glows inside you to everyone who knows about you. From a simple person to a great iconic figure, you stand as a role model to many of us. What was your genesis of your journey, ma'am? Could you tell us about that?
Yes. So 30 years ago, familial circumstances forced me to get into business and social service, and then my journey started. I never looked back. The learnings, the experiences, the joy, the sorrow, the difficulties, they were all a truly exhilarating time that I had in those 30 years. And what I am today is what I have learned from the lessons that life has taught me.
Wow, that was a tough journey, ma'am, but you are more tougher and you rocked it. You are indeed a role model to many, but you yourself would have a role model. Can you tell us who is your role model and the person who motivates you to move forward, ma'am?
Okay, my role model then, now, and I think forever is my mother-in-law and mentor and guide is late Srimati Chandrakanti. She never taught me anything. I just had to follow her, shadow her, learn from looking at her, working with dedication, passion, discipline, and everything a good leader needed to have, she had practiced them. And I think I learned so many things from her that it's
Wow, that was indeed a great person, ma'am, you have described. And now we can see that how much you admire a person and how much a person holds importance in the chapter of your life. Ma'am, have you ever thought that you would be standing here 20 years ago? Excuse me, ma'am. Could you unmute yourself, ma'am?
sorry, not at all. I never imagined myself to be in this position. I was very young when I got married. I had no formal education. I always thought I would be happy to just keep a house for my family while whiling away my time on inconsequential things. But this family that I got married into, the illustrious GRG family, and the members of the family, both Srimati and Sri GRG, were great visionaries who thought beyond their time and with their limited resources in those days, gave a lot back to society. So it was a foregone conclusion where I was concerned that I would follow in their footsteps, for which I am eternally grateful.
Not everyone achieves what they think, ma'am, but you have proved achieving it in 20 years with support with your family, ma'am. Yeah, everyone has times when they feel discouraged, ma'am, but someone or some things can take us back. What was your power charm, ma'am, when you feel discouraged?
So being discouraged is a baggage one carries all the time. It is a perception that one needs to first eliminate and redefine the storyline that one would want to script about their goals and their objectives. This being discouraged, it is a very human thing. For a lot of reasons, human beings discourage each other. One could say they could discourage with good intentions, bad intentions, jealousy, etc. But I think we just have to take it with a pinch of salt and keep moving on.
Wow, that
Next question.
was great, ma'am. And Indian Red Cross Society, this must have been one of the biggest turnover in your life. You were a member of the council since 1998. And what was the pathway for the IRC journey, ma'am? We are very, very eager to hear it about it, ma'am. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, again, thanks to my mentor and my role model, Srimati Chandrakanta, who headed Red Cross for many decades before I stepped into her shoes. She saw probably the passion that I had for social service, and so allowed me to be involved in the activities of the Red Cross in Coimbatore. And slowly I got ingrained into it, and I must say that I can give a pat on my back because of the phenomenal growth that Red Cross Coimbatore has so far done, and today's growth is really phenomenal. But I also must add that we had a very good membership, that is very committed members we had, very dedicated members we had a very good committee of members who really helped us all these years, all these decades to bring it to what it is today.
Yeah, ma'am, that's a fantastic voyage, and even we all want to sail in the same boat. Everyone and every day has a story. Could you enlighten us with the story of Indian Red Cross Day, ma'am? Okay, this is something I always say on Red Cross Day, International Red Cross Day. So I need to narrate this. This is as part of the Red Cross protocol. So the mission of Red Cross is to inspire, encourage, and initiate at all times
all forms of humanitarian activities so that human suffering can be minimized and even prevented, and thus contribute to creating a congenial climate for peace. So all of us know the Battle of Solferino in Italy is what inspired the Red Cross movement. A young businessman, a Swiss businessman, Jean-Henri Dunant, was appalled by the condition of the wounded soldiers he happened to see in the battlefield of Solferino, Italy, in the year 1859, during the Franco-Austrian War. He arranged relief services with the help of local community, and immediately following which he wrote the book, Memory of Solferino, to aid the wounded soldiers in times of war, no matter on which side they were fighting. A year after the release of this book, an international conference was convened in Geneva to consider the suggestion of Henry Dunant, and thus the Red Cross movement was born, and the International Red Cross movement was established by a Geneva Convention of 1863. So the name and the emblem of the movement are derived from the reversal of the Swiss national flag to honor the country in which the Red Cross was born. On 8th May, the birthday of Henry Dunant is celebrated as World Red Cross Day. So that's the probably the what I can say about the history of how. Yes.
Okay, that's cool, ma'am. You have really made it in a very crispy and a clear manner. Thank you, ma'am. We usually celebrate days to remind us about the importance of that day. How do you usually celebrate this day, and what are the events and the programs that are indulged?
Yes. So normally what happens is we conduct rallies and to create awareness amongst our Youth Red Cross, Junior Red Cross students, and also among public. Of course, as you know, during this past 2 years, we've not been doing anything. And we conduct awareness programs and competitions based on Red Cross principles at the college and school levels. District level donation workshops are conducted, blood donation camps in the corporate offices. So there's a lot of things that we sensitize the public about the work of Red Cross and the importance of that day, that is May 8th.
Yes, ma'am. Till now, even we, the students, are also celebrating this day, and we are organizing events in our college also, ma'am. And what are the activities organized by Indian Red Cross, ma'am?
Okay, so the thing is that we, I'll just name a few of the initiatives that we are currently doing. One of the most important initiatives is we run a school for speech and hearing impaired children, as you must all know, and our flagship initiative is Talir, a community care home for girl children. We run creches for mothers who are working mothers who can leave their children with us. We run a dispensary at Kote. You know, that's very helpful for those people who would like to see a doctor and get medicines at very, very subsidized costs. We conduct a lot of camps and training programs that is a part and parcel of our regular activities. And that contains, you know, like general medical camps, eye camp, dental camp, and you have blood donation camps, and you have first aid training programs, anti-tobacco campaigns, district disaster relief activities, etc. We also have another initiative that we are currently managing is the Family News Service for tracing of missing members of family. And we also have our free hearse vans wherein we transport dead bodies to their homes, and also we have another initiative where we transport mother and babies, newborn babies to their homes free of charge. So like this, we have a lot of initiatives.
Yes, ma'am. That's really huge and it's very incredible. Can you tell me how IRC can reduce and terminate the suffering situation among the people, and how it can raise their dignity to the next level and protect the lives of the people?
Okay, IRCS is an organization, you know, when we started out, I think as I told you, it was started for the wounded people on the war and battlefields.
Yes.
Okay, that is not any more relevant now. Of course, it's relevant even wherever there is a war going on in other parts of the world. But currently in India, in Coimbatore, we cater to the needs of the society because the needs change according to time and environment. So like I said, just previously to your question, I answered, we have continuous initiatives like the school and Talir and the family needs service, etc. And we are also proposing to start a blood bank so that we can offer blood to the people of Coimbatore at affordable costs. So some activities which are a constant source of help to people. And these activities are actually refined and modified according to the need of the hour.
That's wonderful, ma'am. You are an honorary secretary since 1998 and chairperson since 2010. What difference did you feel after joining as a chairperson in Indian Red Cross Society, Coimbatore, ma'am?
Okay, words cannot express the satisfaction I have derived out of heading Indian Red Cross Society, Coimbatore. And nothing can equal the sense of achievement I have when I work for this society, and the results are or outcome is the lives of so many children and persons that we have transformed over the years. So, whenever you work for something, when you see the outcome and if you're able to measure the outcome, and that is equal to the kind of lives that you've transformed, that is happening right in front of you, that is the biggest satisfaction you can get.
That was beautiful.
So it's not lip service, but actually we are walking the talk, if I can put it that way.
Yes, that's great, ma'am. And there must have been bucket full of spectacular initiatives and projects you have handled. And I'm so sure you must have had a lot of tons of beautiful memories and times. Could you tell us any one of your Cloud9 moment in IRC?
I will answer that in one sentence. This is the time I inaugurated Project Talir. I will expand on this Project Talir because that question is coming up later. I will expand on it. But that is the day and that is the moment I felt that I was really on Cloud9.
Oh, that's nice, ma'am.
Is there any special training to join as a Red Cross volunteer, ma'am? And can students help Red Cross Society as part-time too?
Yes, we have a team called the District Disaster Response Team. So in the year 2011, we formed this team consisting of more than 125 members from our YRC. So every year we conduct workshops on disaster management and first aid to all the DDRT members, and we issue ID cards to them. A booklet is created, like a database is created, directory is created, which includes all the members' details and contact details. And these booklets are issued to all the NGOs and government offices, so that if there is any natural disaster or any emergencies where volunteers are required, these 125 well-trained volunteers who can handle any kind of calamities or emergencies or any kind of any situation that needs to be handled in the right way. So we recruit, we ask students to join this team every year, because every year they need to undergo this 5-day program that we have it in one of the colleges. It's a camp that we run there, and they have to stay overnight to undergo this training. So students may visit our school for speech and hearing impaired children or Talir home, and they can conduct some classes for them. Well, there are a lot of things that youngsters can join us in all our initiatives.
That's great, ma'am, and we'll really keep that in mind, ma'am. Ma'am, that was one of the iconic project of IRC. Could you tell us more about that?
Yes, this project was started in the year 2001 on World Red Cross Day. Children below 5 years were surveyed in and around Coimbatore. Early deafness detection camps were also conducted. A total of 21,697 children were surveyed. And our district collector Shri N. Santhanam IAS pioneered this project, and 366 children were identified as high-risk children. Out of that, 243 children attended the next phase of identification, and 103 children were recommended for treatment. So depending on the seriousness of the problem, the children were advised to go to special schools for their education. Cochlear implantation was recommended. Para testing was recommended. Speech therapy, hearing aids were given. So about 80% of the children went through the recommended treatment and testing. So from this, we got the idea that we should start a speech and hearing impaired children and impart the proper kind of education to these kind of differently abled children. So that is how the school was started from under this Project DEF. So the school which started with 9 children and has now around 35 to 40 children. They go through a curriculum that is state board curriculum, a proper curriculum, but they are taught differently, as you know. So we have from pre-KG to 10th standard, 11 batches, 44 students, and they've completed 10th standard, and those students who are doing their engineering, arts, ITI diploma courses, and the plus two students got state rank in the year 2014, and even this year we have 6 students finishing their 10th standard. So this is something that that we are really proud of, that we are helping these students to get into the mainstream.
Sure, that's really amazing, ma'am. And also, as students, also as our part of our observational visit, we also went to the deaf school, and I must say it was a breathtaking experience for us. We also conducted few games for them and interacted with them. Those children are really enthusiastic, and their level of energy and love they give, it is so amazing. It's like they themselves as a big inspiration for us. So thank you so much, ma'am, for initiating this deaf school and also for doing such a great project. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's one of our memorable moments in our college life. We are blessed to visit the home.
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Okay.
Hear about Talir, ma'am. Everyone is saying it is a community home for the girl child, which has got wide success. What inspired you to create Talir, ma'am?
Actually, we found there were a lot of, during we were doing a kind of a survey on girl children and what kind of stigmas they have and what kind of issues they were facing in their homes, either because their parents were separated, or parents were single parent children, or parents had some illness and they were not able to take care of these children, girl children, or there were certain other complications also in their lives. So going by that, we decided that we would plan a community care home for the girl child, because the girl children were more exploited than the male children. So this is what led us to start this initiative called Project Talir. So this home was inaugurated in the year 2013, and we decided we would take in 32 children, girl children. We had set a criteria from where they should, how they should, what is the criteria for admission of these children, like depending on the background, or their sufferings at home, or their inability to go to school, etc., etc. So we took them from the age group of 4 to 18 years, and we are very, very, very pleased to say that in this past, I think 8-9 years, we've done a wonderful job on these girl children. They come now. Actually, we even allow them to go back to their parents during holidays. Most of the children prefer to stay with us, and we give them very good education. And already now about 7 of our children are in college, and as these college children finish their college education, we are planning to give them a livelihood experience and so take care of. And we give them everything. There is nothing that we deprive them at home. We give them computer education, yoga. We give them counseling. We have a counselor who goes and counsels, and we give them art, craft, gardening, tailoring, and we teach them English also through the language lab that we have set up in the computers. So it provides a beautiful, homely atmosphere. I don't know if you all have visited. If you all haven't post pandemic, please do visit this home and try to help those children in all the extracurricular things that you all can give them. So this home has 24 hours. We have caretakers. We give them constant attention, and we are also pleased and proud that PSG hospitals have a medical camp every month at the Talur home for our children. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Living as a girl child in this society with all the stigma, it is very difficult. But through Talar, through the initiative which you have made, it has made a lot of girls' life much more easier. And as you have told, we will also keep in mind and we will also visit one day and also indulge in all the activities. There is no force more powerful than a woman's determination to rise. Ma'am, could you share us with one moment where you faced an unforeseen issue in IRC and how you diffused yourself and resolved that situation and how you rised up again from that?
Okay, there's not one occasion, but there have been many occasions, unforeseen resolve in IRCS. There were difficult times when I first took charge. Some persons who would not allow us to function due to some of their own power politics and also. But as I said, I had the blessings of my mentor in the past chair, Srimati Chandrakandi, and the Almighty, who gave me the strength to come out successful. But I also believe in one thing. I believe always that when you fight for the right cause and in the right way, success is for sure. So that is the motto that it's always held true for me, and it's come true for me. So that I think is a good message to give to everyone out there who's listening to me.
Yeah, that's fascinating, ma'am. This COVID-19 is a real tough situation for all of us. How is IRC doing a job during COVID-19 in collaboration with our government, ma'am?
Actually, we didn't have a direct collaboration with the government, but through the state branch of IRCS, as a part of mitigating effects of the lockdown during the last lockdown, our society donated a lot of relief materials to about 10 villages in the Anikatti area. We selected the Anikatti area because they were very remote villages, very inaccessible villages, and there were the people who they didn't have much access or much contact with the outer world. So we went out there and we gave them provisions to last them that 4 weeks of lockdown. So about 10 villages were taken up and we worked on them.
Okay. That's great, ma'am, and thank you so much. Now we are in the second wave of pandemic, and now in the midst of this, what do you think is that one vital for IRC to do other than what is already being done?
Yeah, we're looking at setting up a vaccination center, because now vaccines are very much in demand and I think there's a shortage. But we'll try to talk to our state branch and to the government to see whether we can enable a vaccination center, and the only thing now that is going to prevent this wave from getting more rigorous and serious is that to vaccinate as many people as possible. See, we can't get into the taking care, the medical healthcare area because we are not equipped to do that. But at least we can help to prevent the disease from progressing further. So the best thing is to enable and help facilitate the vaccination process. So that is what we are focusing now on. We are talking to state branch and then we will talk to government also. And I think Indian Red Cross Society Coimbatore branch can play a very big role in that. And from time to time, whenever the government hospital requires help, we are always there to do it.
Yeah.
That's really what we all need to focus on, ma'am. This pandemic has taught us many.
Yeah.
One of them is how to tackle and remain cool when situation approaches us. What is your chill pill during this time of pandemic, ma'am?
Okay, I read a lot, but I also do a lot of planning for the future. And I, because I had a lot of institutions, organizations, so I do a lot of planning. And of course, the chill pill is watching movies on Netflix.
That's
You
wonderful.
need yeah, you need that outlet.
Thank you for sharing that with us, ma'am. Well done is better than said. Words are from the lips, but actions are from the heart. Could you share us with a secret that how your actions always speak louder than words?
See, you know a horse with blinders? It just doesn't look left, right, or it doesn't listen to anybody. It just keeps going. It's got a purpose. It's got an objective. It's got a goal.
Yes.
So like that, you keep doing what you want to do until you achieve that goal. Don't look to see what others are doing. Don't look back. Don't look sideways. Just keep going, looking front. Your actions will always be imprinted in the minds of the society. You don't need anything else. If the society thinks in their mind, oh, this is an action that so and so has done, and it's a good action, that is more than enough. Nobody has to say it out loud. You don't have to say it out, and you don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, ma'am. When it comes to leadership, actions are more important, and you proved yourself that the actions can speak more louder than words. Through your inspiration, even we will also make our action speaks louder than words. And what is the one important thing that human needs to hold on, according to you, ma'am?
Humans, according to me, may sound a little strange, but first of all, need to stop thinking about themselves and themselves only. There is an earth that is created by our creator, wherein exists millions of other species, not just human beings. We have a beautiful environment, and unless we look at that environment and say, yes, we need to coexist with other species in this environment, I think the human race will face immense difficulties and may be wiped out in the next 50 to 100 years. A classic example is our current pandemic. I think we need to sit back, look back and say, ask ourselves, where have we gone wrong? Let us let us all of us look at to resolve, to think only beyond ourselves. Now it's all about ourselves. And come to look at our environment and say, yes, we are going to coexist with you for the next few hundreds of years or next few centuries. And we need to try and save it so we can leave a good place for the next generation of human beings to survive on this earth. Like all of you youngsters, your next generations, all of them have to survive in a very clean, healthy environment. And for that, we need to protect and take care of our environment. So Gandhiji said way back in so many decades ago, the earth has enough to meet everybody's needs, but not everyone's greed. I think those are very apt words for now. And I think the most important thing in our lives is to protect and care for our environment. Thank you, Jai Hind. Thank you, Dr. Jaisudha, for giving me this opportunity. And I think the students asking me these questions have made me also, sit back and reflect upon all the things that we have done in Indian Red Cross Society and what more we can do. I think your questions have also inspired me to think about what more we can do. And thank you again. Thank you for giving me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you.
We really hope that you enjoyed it because we had an amazing time with you, and that's everything we wanted to know. From the beginning until now, you are always be our inspiration. And my deepest sense of gratitude to Mrs. Punkoday, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for arranging this section. And a special thanks to a lovely principal, ma'am, Dr. Jaisudha, ma'am, for being the mayor of the bond. And also our program coordinator, Sophia Princess, ma'am, for making this possible. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for spending your valuable time with us. On behalf of management, once again, I thank you so much. Have stay and be free from corona. Thank you, ma'am.